My beloved child, pause here for a moment and listen carefully. There is a quiet moment unfolding around you right now, a moment that many people would rush past without noticing. But you didn't. Something inside you felt a gentle pull, almost like a whisper saying, "Wait, there is more to this." And that is exactly why you are here right now, hearing these words. Because sometimes the most important truths do not arrive with noise or chaos. They arrive softly, like a light turning on in a dark room. And when that light appears, everything begins to look different. There are times in life when you feel as if something invisible is moving behind the scenes of your story. You cannot fully explain it, yet your heart senses it. Small moments begin to align. Thoughts appear in your mind at the exact time you need them. You may walk into a room, look around your own home, and suddenly feel a strange awareness. As if something meaningful is about to be revealed. Not something frightening, not something confusing, but something deeply personal, something that was quietly waiting for the right moment to reach you. And here is the surprising part: the truth that is about to reveal itself has likely been near you for a long time. Closer than you think. Many people search far away for meaning, for answers, for signs that life is guiding them somewhere special. They travel across places, across ideas, across endless distractions. Yet the most important realization often appears in the simplest space, the place where you live, where you rest, where you think, where your quietest thoughts are allowed to breathe. Right now, a shift is beginning to unfold. You might not see it fully yet, but you can feel its presence like a gentle change in the air. Moments like this are rare. They do not appear every day. When they do, they bring clarity that feels almost magical, not because something impossible happened, but because something hidden finally becomes visible. Something that was always there, suddenly makes sense. But listen carefully for a moment. Many people miss these moments because they rush forward without pausing. They scroll past the moment. They move on before the message reaches their heart. Yet you chose to stay. You chose to listen. And that decision alone is already changing something inside your story. So don't skip this moment. Let these words settle around you for a second. Because something huge is waiting for you, and it doesn't come through noise or pressure. It comes through awareness. Through understanding. Through that quiet moment when you realize that the path you thought was ordinary may actually be guiding you somewhere extraordinary. There is a reason this message reached you now. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Now. Think about that for a moment. Out of all the seconds in your life, this exact second became the one where you paused and heard these words. That timing is not random. Timing often carries meaning that we only understand when we slow down enough to see it. And here is something even more surprising: the truth that is about to unfold is not something distant or complicated. It is something that connects directly to your own journey. Your thoughts. Your choices. Your quiet hopes that you may not even share with others. Sometimes life reveals a hidden truth not to change who you are, but to remind you who you have always been becoming. There are moments when a person suddenly realizes that their path has been gently guided all along. That what felt like coincidence was actually preparation. What felt like waiting was actually timing. And what felt like confusion was actually a doorway leading toward understanding. Right now you are standing near one of those doorways. Most people walk past it without noticing. But you stopped. You listened. And that changes everything. Take a slow breath and stay with this moment a little longer. Because the hidden truth that is beginning to appear will not shout to get your attention. It will reveal itself step by step, like pieces of a beautiful puzzle slowly coming together. At first you may see only small fragments. A thought here. A realization there. A memory that suddenly feels meaningful again. And then something remarkable happens. The pieces begin to connect. You start realizing that certain experiences in your life were not random at all. They were signals pointing towards something important. Something about your purpose, your direction, or even a connection in your life that carries deeper meaning than you first believed. But before that truth becomes clear, something inside you must become ready to see it. That readiness is what brought you here. That quiet curiosity in your heart is not accidental. It is part of the moment unfolding right now. Stay till the end of this message, because the next realization is something many people wait years to understand. Some never see it at all. Yet you are already closer to it than you realize. And here is the beginning of that realization. The hidden truth is not something being sent from far away. It is something that has been growing quietly within your own life, waiting for the exact moment when you would finally notice it. And that moment may have just begun. Something very quiet is happening right now, and most people would never notice it. They would continue with their day, distracted by noise, rushing from one moment to another. But you are still here, still listening, still allowing this moment to unfold. That alone already separates you from the crowd. Because moments like this are not meant for those who hurry past life. They are meant for those who pause long enough to feel the deeper rhythm of their own journey. A hidden truth rarely appears all at once. It reveals itself slowly, like the first light of dawn spreading across the sky. At first the world still looks dark, still uncertain, still quiet. Then gradually the shapes of things begin to appear. What once looked unclear suddenly makes sense. What once felt confusing begins to align with meaning. Right now, you are standing at the edge of that dawn. Think about your recent days for a moment. Have you noticed small, unusual feelings appearing in the quiet moments of your routine? Perhaps you paused for a second longer than usual while looking around your home. Perhaps a thought appeared in your mind that felt deeper than ordinary thinking. Maybe something simple, a memory, a feeling, a moment of calm, stayed with you longer than expected. These moments are not accidents. Sometimes life speaks through gentle signs that feel almost invisible. Not loud announcements. Not dramatic events. Just subtle reminders that something meaningful is unfolding around you. And here is the interesting part. Many people search for signs in distant places. They believe answers must come through complicated experiences or dramatic changes. But the truth often appears in the places we see every day. The familiar spaces where our lives quietly continue. Your home, the place where your thoughts wander freely, where your heart relaxes, where your mind becomes quiet enough to listen. That space holds more meaning than most people realize. Within those walls are moments you have lived, lessons you have learned, and dreams you have quietly carried forward. Every corner of your environment holds pieces of your journey. And sometimes, something hidden begins to reveal itself right there. But the truth is not always something physical you can hold in your hands. Often it is a realization, a sudden understanding that changes the way you see everything. Stay here with this thought for a moment. What if the thing you have been waiting to understand, the clarity you hoped would arrive one day, has already started revealing itself? Not in a dramatic flash. Not in a loud announcement. But through a series of quiet realizations that slowly guide your awareness in a new direction. Many people experience this shift without recognizing it. They feel a strange sense of calm in moments where they once felt restless. They notice that certain thoughts no longer trouble them the way they once did. They begin to see their past not as a series of random events, but as steps leading towards something meaningful. When that realization begins, life feels different. You start noticing patterns. Moments that once seemed unrelated suddenly appear connected. Conversations you had weeks ago suddenly feel important. Small decisions you made without much thought begin to look like turning points. This is how hidden truths reveal themselves, quietly connecting the pieces of your story. But here is the part that many people overlook. Before a truth becomes visible, something inside you must become ready to see it. And readiness often arrives through patience. Think about how many times in your life you wondered when something important would finally happen. When clarity would arrive. When the next chapter of your life would begin. At times it may have felt like nothing was changing at all. Yet behind the scenes, something was always moving. Every experience you lived, every challenge you overcame, every quiet moment of reflection was shaping the person you are becoming. Preparation often feels like waiting. But in reality, it is transformation. The reason this moment feels different is because that transformation has reached a point where understanding can finally begin to appear. Don't skip this moment. Let it settle into your thoughts. Because something huge is waiting for you, not in the future, but within the realization that is slowly unfolding right now. The truth that is revealing itself is connected to your own awareness. It is about seeing your life from a perspective you may not have considered before. Imagine standing at the top of a hill after walking a long road. While you were walking, all you could see was the next step ahead. The journey felt long, sometimes uncertain. But when you reach the top and look back, suddenly the entire path becomes visible. You can see where every turn led you. You can see how every step connected to the next. And most importantly, you realize that the journey had direction all along. That is the kind of realization that is beginning to unfold for you now. The hidden truth is not something meant to confuse you. It is meant to bring clarity. It is meant to help you see your own life with a deeper understanding. For some people, that realization arrives suddenly, like a light turning on in a quiet room. For others, it arrives gradually, like a story slowly revealing its meaning as each chapter unfolds. Right now you are somewhere within that unfolding story. The fact that you are still listening means something inside you is already sensing the importance of this moment. Your intuition, that quiet inner awareness, often recognizes truth before the mind fully understands it. That is why certain words resonate deeply even when you cannot explain exactly why. Something inside you simply knows. Stay till the end of this moment, because the next realization may shift the way you see your past, your present, and even the direction your future is taking. What you are beginning to understand is this: life does not hide truths from us forever. Sometimes it simply waits until we are ready to see them. And right now, readiness is quietly growing inside you. There is a reason this message feels personal. There is a reason the words seem to reach directly into your thoughts. Because the truth unfolding here is not a general idea meant for everyone. It is something that connects uniquely with your own journey. Every person's path contains moments where meaning suddenly becomes clear. Moments when you realize that the story you thought you were living is actually part of something bigger. Moments when your perspective shifts just enough to reveal a deeper understanding. That shift may already be beginning. Think back to something you once considered a simple moment in your life, a decision, a meeting, a conversation, even a quiet evening when you were alone with your thoughts. What if that moment carried more significance than you realized at the time? What if that moment was a signal, a small piece of the truth that is now beginning to appear? Hidden truths rarely arrive without leaving clues along the way. The clues are usually small. A feeling that stays with you longer than expected. A thought that returns again and again. A sense that something meaningful is approaching even when you cannot yet describe it. Those clues have likely been appearing in your life already. And now, they are beginning to connect. Something huge is waiting for you, but it does not arrive as a sudden miracle. It arrives as understanding. The kind of understanding that quietly changes the way you see yourself, your experiences, and the path ahead. In the next moment of this journey, something even more surprising will begin to reveal itself. A connection that may explain why certain events in your life happened exactly when they did. And when that connection becomes clear, the hidden truth you have been approaching will finally begin to make sense. For a moment, let everything become quiet inside your mind. Not silence filled with emptiness, but the kind of quiet where understanding begins to rise gently to the surface. Because what is about to unfold now is not just another thought passing through your day. It is a realization that may change the way you see the path you have been walking all along. Sometimes the most powerful truths are the ones we nearly overlook. They stand quietly beside us for years, waiting patiently while we move through our routines, our worries, our hopes, and our questions. We believe that answers must come through extraordinary events, through dramatic changes, through something so obvious that it cannot be missed. Yet the deeper truth often waits within the ordinary moments of life. Think about this carefully. There are experiences in your past that once felt confusing or incomplete. Moments when you wondered why something happened the way it did. Moments when the timing seemed strange, or when a door closed just when you expected it to open. At the time, those experiences might have felt like random turns in your story. But what if they were not random at all? What if they were pieces of a pattern that only becomes visible once enough time has passed? When you look at a single thread in a tapestry, it may appear meaningless by itself. But when you step back and see the entire design, suddenly every thread has a purpose. Your life works in a similar way. Each experience, each decision, each unexpected moment is like a thread woven into a much larger design. At first, you only see the small part directly in front of you. But slowly, as time moves forward, the wider picture begins to appear. And right now, you may be starting to notice the design. Stay here for a moment and allow this thought to settle. Because the hidden truth that is revealing itself is not something separate from your life. It is something already woven into it. The signs of it have been there quietly all along. Perhaps you noticed certain ideas returning to your mind again and again, as if they were gently asking you to pay attention. Perhaps you felt drawn toward certain changes in your life without fully understanding why. Maybe there were times when you sensed that something meaningful was approaching, even though nothing obvious had happened yet. Those moments were not meaningless. They were invitations to look deeper. Many people ignore these invitations because they appear too subtle. Life feels busy, distractions fill the day, and the quiet voice of intuition becomes easy to overlook. But you did not overlook it completely. Something inside you remained curious. That curiosity is powerful. It is often the first step toward discovering something important about your own path. Imagine standing at the edge of a calm lake early in the morning. The surface of the water is still, reflecting the sky above. If you glance quickly, you might see only the reflection. But if you look carefully, you begin to notice what lies beneath the surface. The same is true for the moments in your life. Beneath the surface of everyday experiences, there are deeper meanings waiting to be understood. And sometimes, when the time is right, those meanings rise into view. Don't skip this moment. Let your thoughts remain here for a while longer. Because something huge is waiting for you. Not in the sense of something dramatic or overwhelming, but in the sense of something deeply meaningful becoming clear. Clarity has a unique feeling. When it arrives, it does not create confusion or pressure. Instead, it brings a sense of calm recognition, like remembering something you always knew but had temporarily forgotten. That feeling might already be beginning inside you. You may notice that certain parts of your life story suddenly seem more connected than before. Experiences that once appeared separate begin to form a sequence that makes sense. You realize that what seemed like delays were actually moments of preparation. What seemed like detours were actually new directions leading you toward something important. And what seemed like uncertainty was actually space being created for understanding to grow. This is how hidden truths reveal themselves, not by forcing their way into your awareness, but by gently aligning the pieces of your story. Look at where you are now compared to where you once were. Think about the person you were months ago, or even years ago. Your thoughts were different then. Your understanding of life was different. Your expectations, your worries, your hopes, all of them have shifted as you continued moving forward. Growth often happens quietly. We rarely notice it while it is happening. But one day, we pause and realize that something inside us has changed. We see life with new clarity. We respond to challenges with greater calm. We recognize opportunities that once felt invisible. That shift in awareness is not an accident. It is the result of every experience that shaped you along the way. Right now, the hidden truth beginning to reveal itself is connected to that growth. It is showing you that the path you have been walking is not random. There has always been direction within it, even during moments when you could not see it clearly. Stay till the end of this moment, because the realization that follows is one many people spend years searching for. Here it is. Your life is not only about the events that happen around you. It is also about the awareness you develop within those events. Two people can experience the same situation and walk away with completely different understanding. One sees only difficulty. The other sees the lesson hidden inside the difficulty. One sees a closed door. The other notices the new path opening beside it. The difference is awareness. And awareness grows when a person begins to look beyond the surface of life. You are beginning to look beyond the surface now. That is why this message resonates with you. Something inside you recognizes that there is more to your story than the visible moments. There is meaning developing behind the scenes. Think about the idea of timing. Have you ever noticed how certain realizations arrive only when you are ready to understand them? A piece of advice might reach you years before it truly makes sense. A conversation might stay in your memory until one day its meaning suddenly becomes clear. Timing often works quietly like that. Understanding arrives when the mind and heart are ready to receive it. And perhaps, right now, you are reaching one of those moments. The hidden truth you are approaching may not be a single sentence or a single idea. Instead, it may be a shift in perspective, a new way of seeing your journey that changes everything about how you move forward. When that shift happens, life feels lighter. Questions that once felt heavy begin to dissolve. The path ahead becomes clearer, not because every detail is known, but because you trust the direction you are moving. That trust grows from understanding. And understanding is what is slowly unfolding here. Think again about the environment around you, the place where you live, where you rest, where your daily life quietly continues. That space has witnessed countless moments of your story. Your thoughts. Your plans. Your reflections. Your hopes for the future. Sometimes the most meaningful realizations happen in those familiar places. Not because the place itself contains the answer, but because it allows you to slow down long enough to notice what has always been present within you. That awareness is beginning to awaken now. And when awareness awakens, hidden truths naturally come into view. But there is one more realization waiting just ahead. It is something that many people overlook until later in life. The truth is this. You are not simply moving through life. Life is also moving through you. Every experience shapes your perspective. Every challenge strengthens your understanding. Every moment of reflection adds depth to your awareness. In this way, your journey becomes more than a sequence of events. It becomes a process of discovering who you truly are and what direction your path is taking. The hidden truth you are approaching may be connected to that discovery. It may reveal that certain dreams you once thought impossible are actually closer than you believed. It may show you that certain connections in your life carry deeper meaning. Or it may simply remind you that the path you are walking has always been guiding you toward growth. Something huge is waiting for you, and that something is clarity. Not sudden, overwhelming clarity, but the kind that unfolds step by step until the direction of your life feels unmistakably clear. Right now you are standing very close to that moment. The next realization will begin connecting the final pieces of the story that has been quietly forming around you. And when those pieces come together, the hidden truth will no longer feel hidden at all.